Up next, we have the Mechanical Engineering Renewable Energy Group.
Well, good morning, parents, faculty, students, and other guests. Well, as Brittany said, we are the Mechanical Engineering Group here at the Lead Engineering Program. Our company is called Green Mech San Juan, and during this presentation, we'll want to talk about the possibilities of renewable energy in San Juan, Puerto Rico. My name is Juan Bibiloni.
I'm Jose Garcia.
Miles Jarvis.
Mora Marwanga.
Arlington Nunez.
And now we shall start.
So I have one question for you all. Do you know where your electricity comes from? Coal, natural gas, oil? Do you even know what electricity is? Well, in the most basic terms, electricity is the flow of moving electrons that creates an electric current. The creation of electricity has three main components: heat, which can come from many sources, such as fire, which originates from fossil fuels such as natural gas and oil. This heat then boils water, which creates steam. And the steam, if put at high temperatures, will be able to move a turbine that creates the kinetic energy needed to power a generator, thus creating electricity.
Renewable energy is energy that comes from a renewable source such as wind, water, and sun. This energy is cleaner than non-renewable sources such as fossil fuels, natural gas, and coal. Some of the resources you could use is tidal power, wind turbines, and solar power. By using renewable energy, you reduce CO2 levels, which is basically greenhouse gases, which are bad for the environment. In this map, you can see the decrease in pollution over the past 10 years since the implementation of renewable energy in the United States.
Well, you take this information about electricity and renewable energy together with San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we have our problem statement. Since more than 75% of fuels used in electricity production in Puerto Rico are important, the cost of electricity in San Juan is too high for its citizens. Also, the 99% dependence on non-renewable resources creates a significant amount of pollution, which would affect the tourism economy negatively. By implementing renewable energy systems in the city, the cost of electricity can be lowered to an average price and the amount of pollution can be diminished.
So this is an overview of Puerto Rico. It's a U.S. territory located in the Caribbean, and the fuels that it uses for electricity is mostly petroleum, a little bit of natural gas, and coal, but only 1% renewable energy. The cabotage law states that Puerto Rico can only use the marine merchants to transport their electricity, and the marine merchants is the highest costing marine transportation of electricity in the world. And all of the non-renewable fuels are imported, so they have to use it. On this chart, I'm just going to show you the consumption of natural gas in the first half. It starts at 26 billion cubic feet, and it doubles to the latest year at 48. For coal, it starts at 1.65 million tons, and it sort of stays the same. So we've been using coal for many years, and it hasn't really changed.
So another overview of San Juan. San Juan is the capital of Puerto Rico. Also, it's a beautiful place, so it's really known for their tourism. The unemployment rate is 10.3%, with the labor force approximately 140,000. There's 12 million kilowatt hours of electricity used per year. Also, the cost fluctuates around 6 cents per year kilowatt hours.
Well, now we will talk about the benefits of green energy companies in Puerto Rico. The Puerto Rico Green Energy Incentives Act approved July 19th of 2010, it states tax incentives for renewable energy companies. For example, the income tax rates. The income tax rates is basically what a company or an individual, the taxes they will pay yearly based on their income. A normal corporate company would pay around 40%. But if you are a renewable energy company, the minimum you can pay is a 4% flat rate on net green energy income, GEI. And you will receive accelerated depreciation benefits. What is depreciation? As you pay your income tax rates yearly, over time they can get depreciated or reduced. If you're a green energy company, they reduce faster. Also, there are other special deductions like for equipment and maintenance. And the property tax, let's say I have an area where I'm using green energy, like a wind farm or solar farm. I get a 90% exemption from the property tax and 100% during the construction period. Now the rebates program. Now the rebates is really important because it not only benefits green energy companies, but it can also benefit homeowners, like most of the people here in this room. Basically, let's say I have a house, right? And I have solar panels in this house. If these solar panels make more electricity than what I am using, this leftover electricity will go back to the grid. And with proper documentation, I can receive money from this leftover electricity. Most of homeowners that would benefit from this will be in a level 1 tier 1 small scale reservation system up to 100 kilowatts. Not to exceed, you will receive more than 60% of the installation cost. Then level 2, tier 2, medium scale, 100 kilowatts up to 1 megawatt, not to exceed 50% of the installation cost, and a large scale, which is now we're entering green energy companies that use wind farms and solar farms, which will be like 1 megawatt.
Solar energy is radiant light and heat that can be harnessed using various technologies. Solar photovoltaic specifically is the direct conversion of light into electricity. Certain materials, called semiconductor materials, have this process occur in them naturally. So how does it work? The process of photovoltaics occurs in these photovoltaic cells, also known as solar cells. Light, or photons, attack the semiconductor material and release electrons that are forced to flow in one direction. This flow of electrons is the electric current. However, solar cells do not have 100% efficiency because some forms of light are incapable of producing electricity. For instance, infrared light is too weak, and ultraviolet light creates heat energy rather than electricity. Most modern-day solar cells are made of crystalline silicon, or thin film products. Crystalline silicon solar cells are more efficient. However, they have a higher manufacturing cost. While thin film products, thin film materials being these materials only a few layers thick, about a few nanometers thick, they are less efficient. However, they are less costly to make and also simpler to make. Now in San Juan, there are an average of 3,000 hours of sunlight per year, just over 2/3 of the possible total. Now we could implement this solar energy into San Juan using two different ways. Building integrated photovoltaics, BIPV systems. Now this is just the integration of photovoltaic cells into the building skin, such as the roof or facade. And so the photovoltaic cells will not only serve as the power generator, but also as the building skin. Also, the BIPV systems have lower overall costs than separate, dedicated PV systems. However, in San Juan, we have 49,000 acres of urban area, and so that provides us with ample rooftop space on which to place solar panels. So we decided that this would be the most effective way to implement solar energy, because using a solar farm, for instance, we would have to travel outside the city to build one, and thus consume land in the process. We decided that rooftop solar panels would be the most efficient.
Another source of energy are windmills. Windmills primarily create mechanical power. That mechanical power can be used to pump water and grind grain. But they're really known for to create electricity, which they power up schools, homes, buildings, and buildings. One turbine can take up half an acre, but if you're talking about more turbines, it will take up more than like 10 acres. How much electricity does it create? It generates 10 kilowatts. It creates 87,000 kilowatts per year. Some advantages of having wind energy at San Juan. One is cheap. Two is renewable. We don't have to depend on petroleum. Petroleum is not a promise for tomorrow. And three, it will create jobs. Four, it has the lowest death rate. And some concerns of having windmills, as you can see, it can be dangerous. But I made a research that it's decreasing. The wind turbines breaking up every year is decreasing. It only breaks down every 2 years. Oh, and another concern, it can impact the social aspect, which some people find intimidating. Also, some people find it a little annoying with the blades turning around the rotor. And also, it's 40% to 80% efficiency. Windmills at San Juan there's some information on San Juan. The speed averages from 13 to 19 miles per hour, and we only need 15 miles per hour to make the blades turn for a windmill. The wind direction is mostly east, and the locations that we want to set up windmills are Teodoro Moscoso Bridge right here and Laguna de Piñones. The reason we don't want to build it up on over land is because it would take up space and it would be close to homes. Like I said before, it's intimidating for people. So that's why we want to install it over bodies of water.
The last renewable energy resource that we researched is tidal energy. And it can be described as the gravitational pull that comes from the sun and the moon that affects the ocean. So the way that it works is that it uses the difference in the high tide and low tide going through a dam to turn the turbines and produce electricity, or it can just use the current to flow through turbines that are put out in the ocean. It is 85% efficient compared to coal, which is excellent. And the reason why it's this efficient is because the density of the water is 1,000 times more dense than air, so it can be moving at a much slower rate and still produce an efficient amount of energy. Some advantages are it's very predictable because tidal waves go through cycles, so we know when it's happening. It doesn't pollute any of the air, it has a long lifespan, and it has low maintenance, so there's not a lot of maintenance that you have to do with it. You just build it and you leave it. Some concerns are if you want to put a turbine out on the shore, it has to be close to the shore. So that might affect the environment, such as the animals that locate their children, stuff like that, around that area. And in Lorient, France, it has the largest tidal energy facility, which produces about 240 megawatts of energy, which is very good. So that is the potential that tidal energy has. And implementation. We could put the dams under bridges so it won't be much of an eyesore to look at, and it'll affect tourism so that they won't have to see it and it won't affect them. Or you could just put the turbines, as I said before, out in the ocean.
Well, now we will discuss some social concerns that the people of San Juan might have. Well, first of all, will it affect tourism? One of the main businesses in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Although many of the areas in San Juan are used primarily for tourism, there are still many options available. As Maura mentioned, solar panels on roofs, miles, tide energy under bridges. The high cost. Green energy is an investment. It is not a short-term payback period. It is a long-term. But if one starts now, it is easier than if one would start in the future. And another concern is occupying large amounts of land. There are many options that do not require the acquisition of large amounts of land, as Maura mentioned, the solar panels, tide energy, under bridges, and especially in San Juan, where there are few large open spaces, we need to look for these options, and we have stated some of them here.
All of the major political parties, such as the PPD, the PNP, and the PIB, support renewable energy. So they've been wanting this for years, so they'll be very happy to implement it. One of the most important purposes of renewable energies is to reduce the amount of pollutants such as CO2 in the atmosphere. And as you can see, most of the CO2 emissions come from the electricity generation and heating. Using this has minimal to no impact on the environment. And with proper planning, we can minimize any possible impact that the technology we have today will have on the implementation of it.
So how much does it cost? Photovoltaics, we will need 12 million kilowatts hour per year to power Puerto Rico. For solar energy, it creates 1 kilowatt for every meter squared, and there is an average of 3,000 hours of energy in Puerto Rico. This means that we could create up to 3,000 kilowatt hours per meter squared. And if this is the case, we will need 4,000 meters squared of land to create enough energy to power Puerto Rico for a whole year. If we implement photovoltaics, it will help create jobs in manufacturing, installation, and maintenance. The two options that we have of solar panels are monocrystalline panels. These are usually more efficient but cost more. And the other option is polycrystalline panels. These cost less, but are 5% less efficient. Another cost would be installation. This would be averaging about $10,000. And the total cost to create 12 million kilowatts hour per year would be $7 million. Wind energy. This would also help create jobs. An option that we have for turbines is vertical axis. These usually cost about $50,000, and the installation cost is $12,000. The total cost to create 12 million kilowatt hours per year would be about $84 million. And tidal energy. This would also help create jobs. It's about 20 million per dam. You would have to install a dam in order to harness the energy of the tides. And it comes with 14 turbines. It would usually cost about $20 million. And the total cost would be $40 million to create 12 million kilowatt hours per year.
Well, Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "Electricity is a modern necessity, not a luxury." I'm sure you've heard that before. So the solution is not in cutting out electricity from our lives. Now, the slogan for our company, Green Mech San Juan, is "Fire is the past and fossil fuels is the present, but the future is renewable energy. Renewable energy is the key to a brighter future."
We just want to thank Dr. Lee for being there for us for every time we needed him. We want to thank Russell, although he couldn't make it today. Neither Matthew couldn't make it today, neither. But it's okay. We still want to thank him and everybody in the lead staff and the lead students for helping us out.
Any questions, comments? Yes?
What's the maintenance cost once you install the solar system and stuff? What's the maintenance annually for maintaining this process?
For maintenance, solar panels don't have a high maintenance. It would usually, for a year, it would cost about $10,000, but it would not, it's for large solar panels. For home solar panels, it would not be as much.
What's the lifespan of the solar cell? Of the panel completely, what's the lifespan of it?
We did not come across that in our research. However, I'm pretty sure that it's about a couple years.
How many?
A couple years.
You said that using the fossil fuels, the cost of the electricity is 6 cents a kilowatt hour. Is that the wholesale price of the electricity generation cost, or is that, because you're saying that in Puerto Rico, the retail price of electricity is relatively high. So is that 6 cents a kilowatt hour the production or the generation cost? And what would be the retail cost of electricity?
Basically, what we did is we went to the statistics base of the Electric Power Authority of Puerto Rico, and we found like an average of the cost per kilowatt hour in Puerto Rico from the last, more or less the last year to now, and we analyzed how does it fluctuate. So the average is 6 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, if that answered your question.
So that's the production cost. How much do you pay in terms of retail price for your electricity?
So since Puerto Rico has to import their energy, the total price would be about 27 cents per kilowatt hour.
And how does that compare then with the renewable energy prices with different technologies?
On average, the renewable energy sources will be about 20 cents per kilowatt hour, which is considerably less than non-renewable sources.